Hi, Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Today our group will be present 4 characteristics that government handling COVID-19 in our country. I'm the first presenters. I'm Muhammad Rizlan bin Muhammad Rizal. Now let's proceed to the next slide. COVID is a serious risk to public health emerged in 2020. The unexpected severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus SARS epidemic outbreak began in Wuhan, China. In 2019, this COVID quickly expanded throughout the world. Then the World Health Organization WHO has given this condition the designation COVID-19. Apart that, COVID-19 was initially found in Malaysia on January 25, 2020 and was traced back to 3 Chinese nationals who had previously had close contact with an affected person in Singapore. Here are 4 characteristics that government handling COVID-19 in our country, which is tightening the security, standard operating procedures, SOP, vaccine COVID-19 and preliminary test COVID-19. Now I will pass to the next presenters.
Hello, my name is Isaac Arnold Simbako, and I'm going to present the first point of our topic, that is the common characteristic of government in handling COVID-19. On 11 March 2020, the World Health Government (WHO) declared the global pandemic, which makes the several countries started to restrict flights from China, which is the COVID-19 origin. And before long, all countries banned flights from there. So the very first thing any government will do is to declare lockdown. The lockdown in Malaysia is called MCO. In other words, Movement Control Order. Malaysia declared the Movement Control Order starting effective on 18 March 2020. MCO may not fully stop the spread of the deadly disease, but it can delay and reduce the chances of more people getting infected, since the deadly disease have no cure and still in study. Furthermore, there are several restrictions that are compulsory to follow, which are restrictions of movement, assembly and international travel, degree of closure of business, industry, government and educational institutions to restrain the spread of COVID-19. But in the end, it all depends on how well government executes the lockdown. For example, China was one of the highest cases recorded, but due to the excellence of the executions of extreme lockdown and lots of restrictions, in less than 7 months, they managed to become one of the lowest country recorded cases and among the first country to lift the restrictions, which is the lockdown. Another example, Malaysia used to be known for its amazing capabilities of handling COVID-19 and almost 0 cases recorded. Unfortunately, our country failed to keep up that amazing achievement. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera everyone. My name is Muhammad Amirul bin Jamin. My student number is 2021-6-2163. I will continue my talk on standard operating procedure or SOP. The feature found in this method is by wearing a mask. Why? Because We must avoid inhaling unclean air such as coughing and sneezing from others, example of COVID-19 spread factors. COVID-19 infection can be transmitted through coughing and sneezing drops. To that, practice a distance of 1 meter. Why? Because there are several reasons, among which you should avoid interacting with others. It can also prevent exposure to a person's cough drops. What is the importance of 1 meter? Why not go as far 2 meter or even more? Okay, droplets can spread at speed as 150 km per hour and as far as 1 or 2 meters. That's point that I got from internet, from Google. The government has made a minimum distance of 1 meter mandatory, but further is better. Lastly, using the messenger apps is one of the SOP features. Every time you enter any premises, you must scan the barcode first to identify your own health. Additionally, users can identify places at high risk of COVID-19 infection so that we can avoid going there. Users can also search for the nearest treatment center to receive treatment. So much for my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Assalamualaikum and good day. I bid to all. My name is Muhammad Ishamuddin bin Muhammad Lab, and today I will briefly explain about the COVID-19 vaccine. Vaccine is the product produced from part of all of the structure of a virus or bacteria that has been killed or weakened, or from a subunit protein in a virus. Vaccine help the immune system by training this antibody to identify specific germs so that the immune system is well prepared when it comes time for the actual germ to attack the body. Among the importance of taking the COVID-19 vaccine is to control the spread of the disease of COVID-19. Then I move on to the effectiveness rate of the vaccine. It is measured through a clinical trial involving thousands of individuals and dividing them into two groups in the same amount. One group was vaccinated, and once again the group was given a placebo. After that, both groups live as usual to date. The study of the efficacy that has been carried out show all type of vaccination COVID-19 is almost 100% effective in avoiding those bad symptoms. After that, we will be looking at the several type of vaccination will be used in Malaysia. COVID-19 mRNA vaccine produced by PAD2704G2 community COVID-19 viral vector vaccine produced by AstraZeneca, Vaxzevria, Covishield, Sinovac inactivated COVID-19 vaccine, CoronaVac COVID-19 recombinant viral vector vaccine produced by CanSino Bio, and COVID-19 viral vector vaccine produced by Gamaleya Sputnik V. The vaccine can only brought into Malaysia and used after evaluated by the National Pharmaceutic Regulatory Division (NPRA) and approved the registration by the Drug Control Authority. Last but not least, if it has side effect, vaccine recipient need to monitor their health status. If you are experiencing mild side effect and need medication to relieve symptoms, you can get treatment at a nearby health clinic. If you are experiencing severe side effect, please seek immediate treatment from the nearest health clinic or hospital. If you suffer side effect other than those mentioned earlier, please report to the nearest health clinic as well. Thank you.
Okay, hello, my name is Daniel Richard. So I'm going to explain about my part in characteristic of government in handling COVID-19. Okay, for the last characteristic of the government in handling COVID-19 is a preliminary test of COVID-19. The case of COVID-19 has started on 25th January of 2020 and was detected on the 3% of Chinese nationality that were infected with the COVID-19 because they had previously had a close contact with an infected person in Singapore. There are three ways of government in handling this COVID-19 case with this test, which are self-test kit, self-declaration form, and RT-PCR test. Okay, first of all, a self-test kit is one of the ways to detect whether a person is infected or not. There are two different methods on doing the self-test kit, which is saliva method, or as known as lateral flow, and nasal sample, which requires us to poke our nose until it reaches where it should have. When the Prime Minister has finally announced that students can come out from ODL, they have to do preliminary tests of COVID-19, which is self-test kit. For an example, on the return of Uitm students to the dormitory, they will have to stop on every checkpoint that been set up by the Uitm staff to make sure they do the self-test kit in front of them and let them see the result after 10 to 15 minutes. Secondly, preliminary test by filling the self-declaration form. A self-declaration form is created to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in our community and reduce the risk of exposure to our citizens, especially for our employees and students. For example, UITM students have to fill the form in their official website of UITM to get access to their important website for every student. The form contains a variety of questions that are related to COVID-19, such as: have we experienced the following symptoms over the past 7 days, and do we have a close contact with a positive person for the past 7 days? After they submit it, it will be investigated. Next, the RT-PCR test. This test is the highest accuracy at this moment and the most sensitive for detecting active COVID-19 infection. This test uses reverse transcriptase technique to detect the presence of COVID-19 virus. The material from the sample was mixed with certain chemicals to separate other substances to obtain RNA only. After that, certain parts of the virus DNA are added to the resulting DNA. If there is a virus in the sample, this part of DNA will attach to the virus DNA. Typically, it takes 2 hours to obtain result. This test is mostly only for the high stage of a positive person. Okay, finally, preliminary tests are very important, especially to youth that still continue studying. This test helps a lot to detect and determine them from the others. Without preliminary tests, students' admission will be the cause of an increase in COVID-19 cases silently. So this is clear that preliminary tests are very important, especially after the endemic be announced. Thank you. That's all from me.
Alright, in conclusion, 4 elements or characteristics that government made actually to curb the spread of COVID-19 epidemics in our country. 4 characteristics that they are mentioned above, which is tightening the security, movement control order, SOP, standard operating procedures, vaccine COVID-19, and the last is preliminary test COVID-19. If none of above these 4 elements, I think Malaysia will be in chaos due to COVID-19. I hope watching this video can get something info from our video presentation. Stay safe and stay healthy. Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera.